And that's exactly where we begin today with the growing investigation following that deadly school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee. Police have released the body cam video, and it's chilling. We can all witness those moments that the officers confronted and killed the shooter. And to be clear, we're only going to show you portions of that footage now. And as we always do in situations like this, we want to warn you that it's extremely difficult to watch and hear. And we froze the video right there. As you can see, it does go on to show the officers surrounding the wounded suspect on the ground. Police have also released surveillance video from inside the school. The footage, including the moments right here that police say 28-year-old Audrey Hale shot through the building's locked glass doors. And then other portions of the surveillance video here show the shooter roaming the halls of the school, armed to the teeth. Police say Hale identified as transgender, and a social media account linked to Hale included the use of pronouns he, him. So investigators say that Hale opened fire on police when they arrived at the school, shooting through a second-story window. So police released images of the guns that were used in the shooting, 2 assault-style rifles and a handgun. And last night, community members held a prayer vigil just a few miles from that school to mourn the deaths of the 6 victims. Those victims include 3 children, all 9 years old: Evelyn Dickhouse, Haley Scrubs, and William Kinney. The 3 adult victims, all in their 60s: Cynthia Peak, a substitute teacher; Mike Hill, a custodian; and Catherine Kuntz, the head of that private Christian school. Joining me once again from Nashville, ABC's Jacqueline Lee. Jacqueline, we sure got a lot of new information from the police chief there, holding yet another briefing for us. A number of points made, things that we didn't know about the shooter, and also conversations now the police chief had with the shooter's parents.
Yes, that's right, Kira. We found out about the number of weapons that the shooter had in her possession leading up to the shooting. We also learned about what the parents did and did not know. And they also shared some information about what was contained in those writings about potential other locations that the shooter was going to target. So take a listen to Nashville Police Chief John Drake.
We've interviewed the parents of Audrey Hale, and we've determined that Audrey bought 7 firearms from 5 different local gun stores here legally. They were legally purchased. 3 of those weapons were used yesterday during this horrific tragedy that happened. We know that they felt that she had 1 weapon and that she sold it. She was under care, doctor's care, for an emotional disorder. Law enforcement knew nothing about the treatment she was receiving, but her parents felt that she should not own weapons. They were under the impression that when she sold the 1 weapon that she did not own anymore. As it turned out, she had been hiding several weapons within the house.
And Kira, we do want to point out that we still do not know exactly what was the significance of the day of the shooting, and we do not know why he targeted this school other than that he wanted to target the school. And a big emphasis from this press conference is that the shooter did not plan or did not specifically target the 6 victims that were there specifically. There was no specific classroom or specific person the shooter was going after. It just seemed that the shooter was open firing on the school. Kira.
And boy, we learned a lot from that body camera, didn't we? And also the surveillance video that the police released. I mean, we saw Audrey Hale pull into the parking lot in the car, and then we saw police officers working their way up to the 2nd floor, all into the moment that they confronted the shooter. Found victims along the way, clearly trying to save lives while also trying to take down the shooter, who was still opening fire as they approached the shooter there on the 2nd floor.
Yes, that's right. And Kira, you know, the police chief even said, commended the officers with the amount of courage they had just walking into the situation. But as you see in that body camera footage, it's very organized. It's very structured. They know exactly what they're trying to do, which is to neutralize the threat. You can hear it in the video. It almost plays out like a movie. There's these sirens going off. They're yelling to get more officers there as they push through, systematically moving through each room, clearing it. Ultimately, they do hear some shots, so they move up to that second floor, and ultimately that is where they identify the shooter and take that shooter down. And their biggest priority is to protect as many lives as possible. And so the fact that they were able to neutralize that threat within 14 minutes is a big deal. Kira.
Yeah, it's remarkable to see how fast they moved. And I mean, what a switch from Uvalde, Texas. I mean, such a clear difference. Something we want to talk more about now. Jacqueline Lee, thank you so much for reporting there from Nashville. Let's bring in our ABC News contributor and former acting undersecretary for intelligence from the Department of Homeland Security, John Cohen. John, really, it is remarkable when you just think about Uvalde and how we saw video from that situation and lingering officers in the hallways and bad comms and kids being killed and kids dying there on the scene. And then you see the body cam video from Nashville police officers there and how, I mean, they were talking, moving in perfect formation, clearing rooms, tapping on the shoulder. I mean, it was nonstop. They weren't taking a moment to pause or worry or wonder. They knew exactly what to do, and they did it. And you see it on the video.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, it's just a stark difference. And as someone who spent almost 40 years in law enforcement, you know, notwithstanding the fact that this was a horrible tragedy, the sense of pride I felt watching those officers responding how they had been trained, putting their own personal fear aside, moving in, as you said, a well-organized, tactically proficient manner until they located the suspect and neutralized the threat. This is what those who put the badge on are supposed to do. And all too often, this is exactly what they do when confronting an active shooter situation.
So also, too, John, they had to worry about other kids. Not only is it one shooter, two shooters, three shooters, right? They don't know exactly what they're coming into, but they also have to think about all the kids that are still alive and their weapons and when to fire and not fire. I mean, the last thing you want is anything ricocheting off the walls and an innocent child getting hit. So kind of put us in that mindset that not only are they trying to clear that school, find out how many shooters there may be, but get to definitely where they're hearing gunshots, while at the same time carrying out safe tactics so no other child is hurt.
Yeah, so let's unpack that a little bit, because you're absolutely right. I mean, when in the video you see when the officer was immediately arrived on scene, they were gathering information from school officials who are outside. So while he's putting on his vest, while he's preparing his firearm, he's learning information about where children are located, where the suspect is located. He's assessing the situation. Very quickly, the first officers there form up into a team, small group. They enter the location. They move in a well-organized, tactically proficient way. They operate with a sense of urgency and purpose as they go room to room to room, searching for the suspect. As you also pointed out, when they hear gunshots, they move rapidly but in a safe manner to where those gunshots are coming from. They locate the suspect, they engage the suspect, they neutralize the suspect. What we also saw in the video is that immediately after they neutralize the suspect, they begin the process of determining whether there's other shooters potentially in that building, and they begin the process of locating people who may be wounded throughout the building. So, as I said earlier, they did it right. They did it exactly how they were trained to do it and how we hope they do it once they receive that training.
And they saved lives. John Cohen, thank you so much. Appreciate the insight.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.